Mark?
Good morning, Sully.
What's happening, bud? You ready for another long day at Boardwalk Hall?
They just go by so fast. I mean, the days just fly by. It's a pleasure to be in your neck of the woods for a weekend, and I'm enjoying every second of it, no matter how fleeting it may seem.
So tell us about this heavyweight match. You guys had the big front page story in today's Courier-Post. I was reading through it a little bit, during one of the breaks. What a crazy ending. Fill us in on what happened there.
Oh, yeah, last night, Cherry Hill West heavyweight Lorenzo Hernandez was wrestling. He was down 1-0. He was being ridden out. There were 13 seconds left, and kid, I don't even remember there's so many schools. I don't even remember where the kid was from. But he yelled out that Hernandez had bitten him. And he had him in a crossface hold there, and they ended up calling the bout, and they disqualified Hernandez from the tournament.
Wow.
And the assistants for Cherry Hill West were adamant to me that the kid who had yelled out that he had been bitten later came up to them and said, he didn't really bite me. I'm sorry. I just yelled that out.
Wow.
And so, no matter whatever happened, I guess we'll never really know what happened. But we know that Hernandez's career is over.
That's crazy, man. Whew.
It's a shame. Good kid.
Yeah.
All the kids who might bite somebody, he would be far down that list, but you never know, I guess. I would tend to not believe that he did that.
You ever seen anything like that in your coverage of high school athletics? I mean, that's kind of a wild thing to have happen.
Biting?
Or, an alleged bite, anything like that. I mean, that's kind of out there in terms of a way somebody can get disqualified from any type of competition.
Yeah, I wasn't there this year, but a kid from West Deptford apparently used his choppers late in a playoff match against Haddonfield. So it has been done before, Sully.
Crazy. So what was your impression of the first day of the new state championships, where there's 32 guys in each bracket? Makes for definitely a longer first day on the Friday, but we saw some very interesting bouts and some really cool things unfold in some of these weight classes.
Yeah, I would say that was my first impression. It was a long day. That started a little earlier than usual, ended about the same time, I guess. It's a lot of kids. And I think it, in a way, diminishes the region champs a little bit because they used to have a bye, which I think kind of stinks. But, it's an adjustment process, and we adjusted accordingly. It definitely was a lot of action yesterday, though. Way more than, I guess, your body grows accustomed to on a Friday.
Yeah, I guess one of the big stories of the night was Southern Regional's Nick O'Connell getting it through to the quarterfinals as a number 25 seed. I would assume he's the highest seed still remaining in the quarterfinals, right?
Yeah, I think the kid from Highland is also at 25. I'm not sure about that. Let me take a look. But and what the cool thing is that anytime there's something like that, everybody kind of gets behind them. The quarterfinals are where you're going to run into somebody that's pretty stellar one way or another. So, in Southern, they certainly had their own issues this year and had a very odd season with the disqualification from the playoffs and, new region for them, new district for them. It's interesting. And actually, I look, Justin Karras is the 25 seed from Highland, who won by injury default in the first round yesterday, and now is in the quarterfinals. He also upset a kid.
Yeah, Cole Raring and I were talking earlier in the show about a guy named Matt Garrity out of Lacey. He's the 8th seed at 160. Gets a pair of wins, gets into the quarterfinals, and now he gets the pleasure of taking on the number 1 seed, Mecky Lewis of Boundbrook, undefeated. I mean, one of the best wrestlers in the state. So that's that's what you're working towards. If you're one of these mid to lower seeds, you want to get through to the quarterfinals. Then you got to take on a guy who's undefeated and pretty much a monster at your weight class.
Yeah, you've got to be David. Certainly Lewis is Goliath. Kid's unbelievable. I was impressed with Garrity when I saw him at Region 7. I thought he was very, very good. And pulled an upset, I believe, to get to the final where Paulsboro's Santino Marina beat him. It's interesting. Some of these kids, some of the weight classes seem kind of wide open. Then when you get to something like Lewis, nobody really even mentions his name among the wrestlers because it's. I guess you don't want to invite that into your thought process.
Talk with Mark Trible of the Courier-Post. Mark, interesting breakdown at 113 pounds. Could be a collision course between two of your boys, Antonio Menino of Gateway and Joe Manchin of Seneca. They're the 1 and 2 seeds, and both made it through to the quarterfinals. How do you see that weight class playing out?
Well, it's going to come down to me whether Manchin can beat the Howard kid from Bergen Catholic today in the quarters. If he can, then I think it's going to be the two of them back in the final. And, the first time they wrestled, Menino won 7-5. That was in the playoffs, team playoffs. Manchin, to a man, told me, I didn't really wrestle anybody before that. Once I lost, I kind of knew how to get back to square one, what I need to focus on. So, this is a kid who won the state championship last year and certainly has the talent to do it again this year. And if he does it again this year, he's going to have a chance to do it again next year. So, really a top-notch kid. And Menino the same way. He and his brother, the 1 seeds at 106 and 113, very unassuming, nice kids, great wrestlers. And I would love to see Manchin and Menino again. Absolutely. That's what everybody's rooting for who's from South Jersey.
And I believe both Kidder boys are still alive too, right, from Kingsway?
Yeah, Trace and Quinn still alive. I expect Quinn to win it, to be honest with you. He's going to have the kid from Break Memorial in the final. If the seeds play out, which I think they will, I think those two are on a completely different level. And if they do, Quinn lost to him earlier in the year by a point. I like his chances the second time around.
Mark, another guy I've got my eye on is Travis Layton from Woodstown. He's been hot this postseason and at 138 pounds. If he can make it through to that final, you might be looking at the 1 seed Gerard Angelo, Bergen Catholic. So we know all about Bergen Catholic and their tradition, their history. But who knows? Maybe he can pull off the upset and win a state championship.
Yeah, you really never know. Even with Lewis, you never know what could happen. But the task certainly would be tall for Layton. Layton is another kid, just a fantastic personality. This kid who's going to West Point next year. He's had a calling for service, military service, really throughout high school. He's felt that. He's going to wrestle there as well, so good for him. Just a tremendous kid, one of the few kids. Actually, you know what? He's the only kid who I texted him and said, do you have time for an interview one day this month? He said, yeah, but can I call you later? I have to clean my room first. I got to keep my mom happy.
There you go. He's got his priorities in order.
Yeah, you're a man of my own heart. You got to keep your mom happy.
There you go. Mark, real quick before we let you go, interesting breakdown at the heavyweight. We spoke earlier about some craziness there in the first couple rounds, but looking ahead to the quarterfinals, guy Keith Swartley from Cinnaminson, he's been having a great year, number 3 seed. If he can make it through to the finals, you might be looking at Eric Chaconis from Don Bosco Prep, and that would be a huge challenge for Swartley.
Yeah, like Swartley. He's a senior. I think last night's the first time he got taken down in the last 2 years. A smart kid, tough wrestler, very heavy guy. Not just in terms of his weight, but in the way he can get on top of somebody and ride him out. So Chaconis obviously should be the number 1 seed. Power, he's everybody knows his name too. So it would be good to see Swartley get there. We'll see. He's got some pretty decent heavyweights, man. I'll be honest with you. looking at it yesterday. A couple of these kids, it's always interesting the balance between the big guys and the guys who are just tall. They weigh a lot. Some of them don't even weigh that much. They might only weigh 235 pounds, but are tall and thick and fast, you know.
Another guy, Mark, real quick before I let you go, in 195, that's going to be a heck of a semifinals. We'll see who makes it through there. But Chad Watt, another Woodstown kid, he seems like he's been on a mission all year.
Yeah, I like two South Jersey kids in this weight class. I like Mike Tulane from Collingswood. He will get McKenzie from Wall in the quarterfinals today. He took third in the state last year. McKenzie did, but Watt certainly. I think Watt might win the state championship, to be honest with you. He's been on a tear. He hasn't lost this year. Wrestled McKenzie last year and lost by a point. He's only lost 3 times in the past 2 years. All of them have been by 1 point. So I like him. He's as the Allman Brothers used to say, he's hitting the note.
On that note, good stuff as always, Mark. We'll let you go. I know you got a lot of work to do today and tomorrow as well. We'll catch up with you next week and kind of put a bow on this wrestling season.
You got it, Sully. Hope to see you soon, man.
All right, man. Thanks, bud.
Yep.
That was Mark Trible of the Courier-Post.